Okay, welcome not just to the Leans, the Locks baseball edition, but welcome to a full slate. Welcome to the first time you're going to be with me, which is going to be every weekend, Saturday, Sunday slate. We're going to do the same thing that we do during the week. The only thing that changes is just the sound of the voice and the face. That's all. With everything else intact, let's knock a couple of down. What do you say? The Leans, the Locks. You know the drill. Thumbs up, all of that's here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We want you a part of what is happening on the Odd Shopper channel. That's why we want you here, so that you can grow with us. Look, there's a lot still we're taking in with the rules, what have you. And I think that there's a pretty good place to start, at least with some of these early games. So why don't we just dive in? All right. First play is going to be, when you look at where Houston, and really, I think more so than anything, for me at least, it's going to be what I can get with this matchup from Houston's side. You look at the two pitchers, Jose Urquidy, Lucas Giolito, that's where I think there's going to be some vulnerability in this matchup. Guys who like to put the ball, or who have at least successfully been able to get guys out by putting the ball on the ground. You look at these two guys specifically in this matchup, that's really where you're going to find some wiggle room, especially because it just was too little. Like, it was just so long it took for Houston's offense to just come around, just to get a couple of guys around the bags. So we open up with a lock, and that's the Houston Astros in this game. Rubber match that people thought was going to happen, right? Over 8.5 runs. It's first lock we got. First play we got here. We like offense. We like runs. We like the ability for these, really for some runs in this game, from like a run up and down the floor type run, a run on runs. But I'll go over 8.5. Next play, St. Louis here, and Jack Flat's in the house, just trying to get past this injury that has been bug, if you will, that has been biting him and gnawing at him and taking away a lot. So, stopping seasons over the last 2 years. I just think that it's going to be really hard. Toronto was able to do a lot in their first game. Clearly, from an offensive standpoint, you saw their lineup just connect with the baseball and really start the season off pretty strong. So I think that's going to be tough. But look, Kevin Gausman on the other side has not been fantastic the last two times out against St. Louis. ERA wasn't totally dominant, as good as he was, but he's giving up, 3.5, 4 runs, over 8 in this game. That's the lean, over 8. Now, Cubs, Brewers in Wrigley. I think the first 5 is going to be some leverage here for you. Milwaukee's going to get a boost with Brandon Woodruff clearly on the hill. He's been exceptional. We saw at times last year. That's all that's going to be the main focus. But a bunch of newcomers on that lineup from Milwaukee. Didn't really come together in any dynamic fashion in that first game. Chicago, Justin Steele, just take advantage of a mistake here or there, which is going to be there. Even a couple of mistakes, 1 or 2 mistakes from Woodruff. You take advantage of that, there's going to be plus money on the line for this play. So I'm looking at the first 5 money line for the Cubs. Mainly, or the other reasons you could say would be just Justin Steele himself getting through the first 1.5, 2 times in the lineup. Not getting beat. At least not that, in that early stretch. So I'm good leaning Chicago Cubs on plus money first 5. Similar lock here, or similar spot here, where I think you can apply another lock, and that's going to be the Atlanta Braves. Now, Spencer Strider, I'll spend a little more time on this because we're going to try to bang through them all right now, but Spencer Strider is an early long shot for the Cy Young in the NL, where I have no problem whatsoever with you playing. It's all internal with Strider. It's all in his head. It's all in his body, health-wise. Like, this is why he's either going to thrive or he's going to take a step back. or he's just going to plateau, if you will, which technically would be taking a step back. In inconsistencies in his own body, more so than what he's dealing with on the mound or what have you, as far as the other batters. Doesn't mean that he's unhittable or anything along those lines. It just means that he has such great stuff that if the control is there and the composure is there, he's going to be really tough to hit. Nats have no depth, nothing, no defense. This Nationals team is a fucking disgrace to baseball. I can't stomach watching the Washington Nationals. Braves first 5 run line, lock. Not spread, run line, lock. Let's move on. Game 2 with the Rangers and Phillies. Zach Wheeler's on the hill. Now, Texas went out. They got Nathan Eovaldi. Texas went out. They revamped this offense. So you've got a new pitcher. It's not like that's the only thing they did, but you added a big pitcher there. Oh, by the way, the guy that's ahead of him in the lineup, DeGrom, they added him. So it's hard to just look at anything last year. It's hard to look at any major trends or anything along those lines last year from the Rangers. I think this is just more the same of what we saw, except you're not going to have as many opportunities against Zach Wheeler as you did if you're the Rangers against Aaron Nola. So that's a problem that I think starts to rear its ugly head for Texas if they're not able to manufacture a lot. But it may only be a little bit they need to manufacture, right? Zach Wheeler, Nathan Eovaldi, this type of start here, I actually think you've got a pretty good chance I actually think you have a really good chance of the Rangers just simply outlasting Philadelphia in a lower scoring game. And the Phillies just not being able to truly fill the void offensively at the plate of the loss of Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins. They didn't really do anything. Did they go out and do anything? No. It's the same shit. Come on, do something. Do something. Nothing. You want me to believe that it's going to be all good now? Rangers on the money line plus money, I'll take it. Again, I think there's a problem brewing with the Phillies. It's a lot to do with who's not there. I know who is there for the New York Yankees. It's Aaron Judge. I mean, this is just, it's a disgrace. If you're the Giants, this is a disgrace that you have to go out there and pretend like you're not going to get shut down, destroyed, just beat up, hit by Aaron Judge. And you know what I love about the Yankees now is Aaron Judge, it's not going to knock the first pitch out, but this is back to betting belief, meaning you're going to have a really good chance, Alex Cobb aside, which he doesn't really bother me in this matchup, but you're going to have a really good chance to target the Yankees just getting a run in the first inning. Yet, it's going to be looked at as a YRFI. Yes, run first inning. We're just going over a half run. It's the same thing. Yes, run first inning, over a half run total. We're doing the same thing. But anything we get from the San Francisco Giants is just a bonus at this point. It's a bonus. We get a run from the San Francisco Giants. It's fantastic. It hits. It cashes. What we're really going to do, and I don't think that is out of the question. It's just a matter of, is it really likely to happen? I think, again, the Yankees with Judge, you just don't want to be on SportsCenter. And you don't want to make that mistake. You don't want to get, and that's what Cobb is trying to avoid, get a little tight like that, you give up the wrong pitch, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So I'm going to just look at this game itself and say, all right, over a half total runs first inning, New York Yankees. Lean, all right, lean. Now we move to Oakland, still in that earlier stretch here. And we just saw what happened with the Angels. Inability to score, no matter what Shohei does, it doesn't matter. It just does not matter. Now you got Rendon, the fan thing. This team is just becoming truly unhinged, and it's game 2 of the regular season. I mean, think about that. This is just an embarrassment. And it's becoming a problem for the Angels to the tune where you got one of your star players, not superstar, but star players, allegedly getting involved with the fan and stuff. I love the evergreen tweets that come out, which is basically like, this is the first time ever that Shohei Ohtani has done this and Mike Trout has done this. And then you look up at the scoreboard and it's like, oh, yeah, they lose. They lose because the team is not good. Because these two bozos in Trout and Ohtani insist on staying there, not getting the hell out. Well, they're going to pay for it in this case. And they're going to start the season 0-2. And the A's at plus 140 now become super juicy as a lean right now. And I'm definitely sinking my teeth into that. We go to Boston, Fenway. Chris Sale on the mound. You know, Daniel Kremer here. The ground ball element of it. There's not enough for me to trust here really with Baltimore as much as I would. There really isn't. I think you're going to see a better opportunity to just get runs. And look, when I bring up a total early in the season, some of it is the type of pitcher. Some of it is a guy that, or two guys that are a little more comfortable, confident, if you will, in getting outs on the ground as opposed to in the air. I think the new rules are going to hurt these type of pitchers, first off, and that's what we talked about in the first game in its own right here. But in this case, I think the other part of it is, look, ballpark aside, neither one of these pitchers is going to be in there long enough to where I cannot ignore the bullpen. And the new rules, as far as runs are concerned, not scoring runs, but just runs itself, like up and down. Again, like going on a run with runs. Boston at home is kind of tricky like that. So I get it. Like, Baltimore should be the dog here. But I'm going to go over the total with 9 instead and try to get ahead of this thing off the lead. That's all. All right. Tell you what's going on in Bet365. Super simple stuff, right? I need you to be 21 or older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All good, right? We'll keep it going. We'll fly through the rest of this stuff. But New Jersey, Ohio, Colorado, Virginia, I don't know why you wouldn't take advantage of this. That's the big thing. Like, we have this here for you. Why wouldn't you take advantage of it? It's right there. Just sign up. That's all. Sign up. Because if not, well, you've passed once again on a pretty ridiculous offer, which is essentially you sign up, you click below, you deposit $10, you bet $1, you get $200 right back. $200 right back. Why wouldn't you take advantage of this? I don't even want to think about why you wouldn't take advantage of this. Seriously, it's annoying to think that you wouldn't take advantage of this. We move to Tampa. We'll go rapid fire here. Fire this sucker away. I'm not going to keep it 45 minutes like Eric Lindquist because I'm not as smart as Eric Lindquist. That's all. Zach Eflin on the hill. Ooh, I'm interested in this game. Absolutely interested in this game. There is a lack of everything for Detroit. Detroit on the road, you fade. Detroit at home, you're going to get some value. You're not going to get jack shit here for Detroit on the road. They don't score. They didn't score in the first inning at all last year. It's just going to be so tough to do this. You have to go back to the first 5. Zach Eflin healthy. I miss him. I'm going to miss him. But Zach Eflin healthy is a really strong addition to this pitching rotation. I just don't know what you're going to get from the Detroit Tigers in this game. And look, the total is already set at 7.5. What a low number because of how ugly Detroit is on the road. So I think you look at the spread again and say that probably makes the most sense. I think you can actually push this thing to just the Rays and the run. Honestly, at home with a new pitcher, Zach Eflin, there's just not much at all that I can pinpoint with Detroit and say, That's it. That's my confidence. It's not there. We move to Kansas City. Twins. Sonny Gray. Sneaky Sonny. Sneaky Sonny. This, though, is where I do. Now, Jordan Lyles, look, I don't know how long he's going to be in and all that. I don't know if Minnesota is able to turn this around and really get to him. But you've got a really interesting game. 2-0, low scoring. You come back, the total sits at 8.5 after that Thursday game. I don't know. There's something about Kansas City at home where they continue, and this is the start of the season, but last year we saw this for a while, where the number didn't necessarily reflect either how bad Kansas City was or how wide of a gap there may be in this matchup. And I think we're at this point right now. You know, Jordan Lyles goes a little deeper in this game, and all of a sudden, you've got a problem here for Minnesota where it's not as easy as knock Lyles out, and then you've got a weaker bullpen. You get 6 innings, something like that, maybe even longer, to where he's not getting pelted. I think Kansas City right here is live as a home dog. And that's exactly where the best value is. And that's where it will be, I think, for Kansas City for a little bit. Now, look, they start off awful dog shit. That's still going to be gone. If they start out incredibly good after this, then that's going to be gone too. They won't be home dogs. So this is still based a little bit off last year, but I think it's a great spot for them here as well this year, specifically this year. Let's go ahead and lock it up. All right, let's go ahead and lock it up. I don't want to do you a disservice. I feel really strong about this dog here in the Kansas City Royals. Let's do it. All right, 5 games to go. Bear with me here. We're not going to go 45, I promise, but we are going to go a little longer. Marlins now, Edwin Cabrera versus Nick Gillen. And, you know, the Mets, it just hasn't been as advertised. And this is where the Mets begin to fall off. This is where the wheels begin to fall off. This is where the belief in the New York Mets to win the division and anything else is just shit. And it crumbles like one of those stale cookies that you get at the end where it's like wrapped in plastic at the store. Awful, awful shit. And you don't want any part of that. I don't want any part of that. The problem is, what are you going to get from the Marlins here? It was all they could do, Jesus Luzardo mainly, to just keep the Mets silent and quiet. I will admit, like you should, that they do have this breakout game coming. It's just, I think it's going to wait until they open up at home or just get through this. And Miami does this. I saw this with Philadelphia before they shot up to the top last year. Miami just has this way of slowing things down, although with the new rules, that's where the Mets may have a little bit of an advantage. This is essentially a pick 'em. What I do, though, like, is that bats come alive. So we're now getting that total at a good price low. It should probably be 8.5. We're going to go over 7.5 in Miami as a lean here, mainly because I think the number has dipped just enough. All right, now Rich Hill and Nick Lodolo go at it as Great American Small Park continues to host action with a god-awful matchup. I mean, this is just disgusting. I don't want any part of this game. I don't want to bet this game. I don't want to look at this game outside of a couple small things. Now, Lodolo K's could be really interesting here. And where it opens up, I think, for you is probably going to be just simply over that, or maybe just looking at, no, I think that would probably be the better play. Just the case. But if you want a better play from a team standpoint, from a game standpoint, because I'll tell you, Nick Lodolo K's in this matchup, I'm interested in just the basic over. But I don't know what you're going to get with Rich Hill. I don't know how deep you're going to get this team from Pittsburgh to really go in this game before things just start to come off a little bit. And offense should be plenty. So it's not the best matchup, but it is such a small part. Over 4.5 team total for Cincinnati I think, is my favorite play in this game. The reason mostly is because it's a home attack on the park, knowing that the game result isn't in play or even the overall total isn't in play. That's why I'm going to lean over 4.5 here. But at plus 105 on DraftKings, it's going to be hard to pass that up, where 5 runs for the Reds doesn't have to transfer into them winning the game or them even going over 7.5, like 5-0, 5-1, 5-2. That's still a reality where I don't want to get burned with any result. 3 to go. Bear with me. San Diego hosting the Rockies now. Rockies are ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous dogs on the road. Padres, Michael Wacha in town. Well, it's his town. He's pitching for the hometown team. All right, Colorado, though, I mean, Jose Arena, I don't know. This has just got 7.26 ERA written all over it. I know that they're not in Coors Field, but a slow, methodical bleeding of a team is just going to be so difficult to do right now. Here's another thing, and, take it for what it's worth because it's only one game, but you now have at least this team in Colorado scoring runs on the road. And we've seen that consistently for as much consistency as you want. Colorado scores 7 runs. They get up again and score runs in the second game. Now, April Fool's Day. We didn't even mention that. I don't know what the hell this is behind me. Forgot to change it. And I'm like, you know what? It's 20 minutes into this video. I'm not going to go back and give you a new one. So April Fool's Day for this background, whatever the hell that is. I think you're going to get totals here. I do. I think you're going to get an over again. First half is going to be more difficult than the game. And the total is low enough where you don't have to really mess with the first 5 in this. 8.5 is fine. 9 runs is fine in this game. And that's all you need. So it's an over 8.5 play in San Diego. Again, the thing about this game so much about San Diego is how fast they can take advantage of Arena. Like how fast can you get on the bag? Then how fast can you open up the floodgates? Knowing that they just don't have the ability to slow that down. And you saw that on the other side Friday night. So clearly now San Diego looking to bounce right back from that. Dodgers, D-backs, another heavy favorite situation. I don't think Arizona comes in as a live dog by any means, but now you've got Bumgarner and Kershaw. So this is actually a pretty good chance here to go under 7 or 8, pardon me. But let's talk through it, right? The reason why in LA, well, I think it's more just a matter of the pitchers. You don't have to go through some big explanation about these teams or anything large here. It's just a matter of these pitchers. And you're going to get a similar spot in the final game, Cleveland and Seattle. But let's just look at this with Kershaw and Bumgarner. You've got a bad team. Whenever we have 2 teams that have, and usually get this in opening day or in the rotation where you've got 2 aces going at it later in the year, or just whatever in the season. A 1-2, a 1-1. 1-3s are a little more difficult. 2-3s are kind of out. But when you have a top guy, Zach Gallen, we just saw, but when you have a top guy on a bad team going up against a 1 or a 2 on the other team, the under is always in play. And, well, this is the Shander rule of analytics. So you can take this up your keister. I don't give a shit because there's nothing proven about it, but it's just an approach. And I think for me, at 8 runs right now, this is probably going to dip to 7.5 as people start to look at Madison Bumgarner, the ability to kind of hold LA through a couple of runs. The bullpen is going to be a concern when you get that deep into the game. Neither one of these guys should be in the 7th, 8th inning. That's fair. I understand that. But 8 is still just a little too high for more of a manufacturing runs game than just blast away home run game. That's what these two pitchers, I think, scream more so than anything else. Aaron Savale, Lucas Gilbert, final matchup of the night. Stick with me here because Cleveland was supposed to benefit exponentially from these new rules. We were supposed to get an idea of how good the Guardians truly could be and, possibly win this division with ease. Well, they opened up at least with more offense. Cleveland is still a team that doesn't strike out much. Cleveland is still, I think, going to get the benefit, or maybe benefit's the wrong word, but Cleveland is still going to be looked at as a team to struggle when it comes to scoring runs. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case again in this series. You're out late in Seattle, and it's crazy. It's wild. We've seen some rules violation. We've seen some mistakes made. We've also seen offense. And Cleveland almost looks like it's helping them. They don't strike out. So rushing and getting back in hasn't been an issue. It hasn't translated over into an implosion here. So the number is actually good enough right now to where you can go over 7.5, and I will go over 7.5, and I'm locking that up. You better believe it. Lock it up. Thumbs up, subscribe, come join us on the Discord on the way out. I'll give you half off your first week. Lindquist doing MLB. He's there. Isaiah's there. Ben Raza's there. I'm there. Thank you for joining us. We're back for Sunday's edition